Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are taking on a mission that literally every Cambridge English language student faces and honestly kinda dreads, conquering Section A. We're going to completely demystify the marking scheme for the shorter writing and the reflective commentary portions. Because let's be real, if you've ever wondered exactly what that examiner grading your paper is actually looking for, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break down exactly how you can secure those top-tier marks by looking at the exam completely through the eyes of the examiner.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our quick agenda for the breakdown. 1. Acing Section A. 2. Cracking the marking scheme. 3. Crafting the perfect opening. 4. Mastering reflective commentary. And 5. Avoiding common pitfalls. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Acing Section A, the challenge.
Now, to beat the game, you first have to really understand the specific high-stakes scenario you're walking into. This is the actual prompt straight from the 2024 exam. Question 1A asks you to write the opening of a story called The Message. You have a strict maximum of 400 words, and your primary goal, the whole point of the exercise, is to create drama and suspense. Notice that 400-word limit. So many students see maximum 400 words and think, a restriction. But the examiners actually tell us this is a deliberate test. It's a test of purposeful, succinct expression. You literally do not have time for a slow, rambling preamble. You have to get straight to the point, hit the gas, and build tension immediately.
Which brings up a really fascinating question. Why do so many students drop the ball here? Just between us, the examiner reports reveal a massive secret. Tons of candidates write completely fine, beautiful, full-length stories, but they lose huge points because they totally ignore the specific rules of the game. They write an entire plot from start to finish instead of focusing intensely on just the opening to build suspense. Or they completely miss the drama requirement altogether. And that brings us perfectly to our next section. Section 2. Cracking the marking scheme. The rules of the game. Let's pull back the curtain for a second and see exactly how the examiners hand out your points. This right here is essentially your treasure map to a high score. Notice the division of labor. Assessment Objective 2, or AO2, is all about your creative execution in Question 1A. That's worth a solid 15 marks. It focuses heavily on your written expression, your grammatical accuracy, how you organize the text, and of course, how well you engage your audience. Then you've got AO3 for Question 1B, which is worth 10 marks. This is a completely different beast. Here, you are no longer the creative writer, you're the analytical critic. You have to rigorously analyze your own writing, the form, structure, and language you just put down on the page, and explain exactly how it produces meaning. So, let's look closely at what it actually takes to hit level 5, that coveted highest tier, for your story opening under AO2. The examiners aren't just looking for a cool story, right? They are explicitly demanding sophisticated expression. That means using complex sentence structures, varying your paragraph lengths to control the pacing, and employing what they call less common lexis. That's basically examiners speak for an elevated, advanced vocabulary. You need a really high level of accuracy in a text that's logically organized to keep your reader hanging on literally every single word.
Section 3. Crafting the perfect opening. Winning strategies for 1A.
All right, now that we know the rules, let's look at the winning tape. We're going to analyze a top-scoring sample response straight from the examiner's desk. Just listen to this opening. The sky shudders, a dull gray. It groans. Amazing, right? This candidate brilliantly uses pathetic fallacy and personification right out of the gate. And look at the sophisticated imagery. They describe the storm as commanding its ponds of water at the clear panes. I mean, that is top-tier Lexis. By focusing on the shifting, aggressive mood in the weather, the writer instantly builds tension before the main character even opens the door. It completely satisfies the prompt's demand for drama, and it doesn't waste a single word doing it.
So, the crucial point is, less is absolutely more when it comes to suspense. The examiner specifically noted that when candidates got around to describing the actual handwritten message on the doorstep, the most effective ones were the absolute shortest. I can see you. I am waiting. You don't need a massive monologue written in blood with a dramatic wax seal, which, surprisingly, a lot of candidates actually tried. You just need targeted, chilling brevity.
And this perfectly illustrates how to close out a 400-word limit. This exact same high-scoring candidate ends their piece just as the tension hits its peak. The protagonist opens the note, and it simply reads, "We know it all." Boom. End of text. It's this fantastic dramatic cliffhanger that leaves the reader absolutely desperate for more, completely fulfilling that AO2 requirement for maximum audience engagement.
Okay, so you've done it. You've written a fantastic, suspenseful opening.
You secured your 15 marks. But here is the real test. You wrote a great story, but can you prove why it's great? This requires a massive mindset shift as we transition from the creative portion to the highly analytical portion of the exam.
Section 4. Mastering Reflective Commentary, the Post-Game Breakdown.
This is question 1B. It's the post-game breakdown, where you have to prove to the examiner that your brilliant story opening wasn't just some happy accident. You made strategic choices, and now you have to defend them. Listen, if you take one single thing away from this explainer, let it be this masterclass tip. The examiners explicitly recommend using the PEE framework: point, evidence, explanation. First, name the precise linguistic or structural technique you used. Second, give a short, exact quote from your own text as evidence. Third, and absolutely most importantly, explain the intended dramatic impact on the reader. If you skip even one of these steps, you are just leaving easy points on the table.
Let's see how this builds into a perfect response. Check out the commentary from our high-scoring candidate. Notice how they explicitly state their point first. I chose to focus on the perspective of the narrator through a present-tense first-person POV. Then, they dive right into the evidence and explanation, discussing how describing the protagonist as frightened and moving cautiously literally forces the reader to share that exact same fear. They are meticulously linking their grammatical choices directly to the audience's emotional response.
To really understand the standard we're aiming for, let's put them side by side. On the left, we have our high-tier candidate, offering this really sophisticated analysis of imagery and tone. On the right, we have a middle scoring response. So what's the actual difference? Well, the response on the right falls into the absolute biggest trap of 1B. They are just summarizing the plot. They say, the story is written in chronological order, beginning with my arrival at the house. Guys, pointing out that things happen in order isn't analyzing language or structure, it's just recounting events. The examiner wants to know how your words shaped meaning, not just what happened in the story.
Section 5. Avoiding common pitfalls, the examiner's pet peeves.
Knowing the right moves is awesome, but knowing what not to do is what actually protects your score. Let's run through the common fouls that examiners see over and over again. For your creative piece, question 1A, avoid these structural and grammatical traps. Number 1, giant, intimidating blocks of text with no paragraph breaks. It completely ruins the pacing. Number 2, messy dialogue punctuation. If you're shaky on inverted commas, brush up on them today. Number 3, shifting tenses randomly from past to present. It's super confusing. Number 4, massive run-on sentences that literally exhaust your reader. And finally, respect that 400-word limit. Underdeveloped, super short stories lose marks for sure, but so do rambling, endless pieces that ignore the boundary.
Now, when it comes to your 1B commentary, examiners absolutely despise vague assertions. Look at the left side. I used short sentences to create drama and suspense. I mean, anyone can write that, right? It proves nothing. Now look at the right side. The tactile imagery of a horrifying chill engulfing his body adds to the tension. That is so precise. It uses actual terminology, provides a specific quote, and links it directly to an effect. Always, always strive for the right side.
Just to really hammer that previous point home, here's a direct quote straight from the Principal Examiner report. Weaker responses tended to summarize the content rather than focus on the techniques used. If you ever find yourself writing, and then this happens, and then my character does this, stop immediately. You're summarizing. Pivot right back to the PE framework. What technique did you use? Where's the quote? And what is the effect?
So, we've broken down the challenge, cracked the marking scheme, and analyzed the winning strategies. That 400-word limit is just a canvas for your precision, and the reflective commentary is your big chance to shine as a critic of your own craft. So, the next time you sit down to write a response, are you just going to write a story? Or are you ready to actually think like an examiner and engineer a top-scoring masterpiece? The playbook is yours. Use it well. Catch you next time.